That's Dude.
That's Dude.
And welcome to Lazyboys Night. Ooh,
Oh,
this thing is
yeah.
dark. Look at that.
Wow.
That's like,
Oh,
it almost looks like a soft drink. That's,
yeah, big time.
What are we drinking? It's called Ein Liberator.
The Liberator.
From the Brauwerk Hoffman. It's very
You're
German, but ironically, this is not in Germany. Where is this located?
They're actually located in Rockland, Ontario, Canada.
Rockland, Ontario, which is a small town just east of Ottawa.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Brauwerk, but I've never tried them, so I look forward to trying this. It's a cool looking can.
It is.
It's kind of heroic.
Here it is.
It's kind of heroic and a little demonic at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's a very nice.
Ein Liberator. Oh, it's a Doppelbock. It's a Bock beer.
Oh.
If you're not familiar with Bock beers, Bocks are German strong beers.
Have we had a Bock before?
We've had a Bock once, I think, but it was lighter colored than this. Whoa. This is a double Bock. So this is usually Bocks are not beers for the faint of heart.
Can't even see through it.
Bocks are strong beers, not for wusses. So
let's find out.
Let's find out.
It's just two guys talking. There they go again and saying anything. Talking about nothing. Nothing new to say. Talking anyway. So much to review. So let's have a cold brew. A cold brew. Everybody's talking. It's not anything. No one's listening. Talking about nothing. They're all yammering. I can't hear a thing. Nothing I can do. So let's have one more brew. One more brew.
All right, let's try this double Bock.
Oh my God, that's amazing! Wow!
Oh, this is a good beer. Oh,
Wow!
It's got a bit of
I feel like caramel,
coffee after caramel. Yeah, coffee.
big time.
I'm tasting the coffee.
But take a sip and smell at the same time how amazing that is. The bouquet is phenomenal.
Yeah, this is a very rich beer
good
as far as the
job. Nice. Cheers to that.
Yeah, this is not a beer to chug, but if you want to savor something really, really interesting and exceptional, oh yeah, good job, Brauwerk. This
you
is
know what I would have with this?
what?
A big pretzel, a big warm pretzel.
Oh
Right?
yes.
This
Oh,
would be-
oh,
wow.
absolutely, absolutely.
That would be
oh.
amazing together.
Now on a pretzel.
Yeah, same here. And
Oh yeah, no, this is such a complex palette, a bouquet, and I don't know what the words are to use, but I'm really impressed.
We can't stop drinking. Yeah, this definitely. Normally, I would call it a beer snob beer, but it's not. It's
It's beyond. This is because it's snob
it's in its own category.
Oh yeah, this. Well, you know, it's that
job.
super dude, right? Great job, Brauwerk.
Wow.
Oh yes, absolutely. All right. So what's on the agenda today, dude?
What's on the agenda? A fine Thursday night. And welcome to the show. And as you know, we're still commercial free.
For now.
For now. So enjoy the show while we're commercial free. All right? One day, it won't be. All right, so what do we have happening tonight? Well, normally, we would have a crappy bowl of mystery.
Oh.
But we're going to do something we haven't done in a few months now. We're going to have a nice t-shirt of mystery. I've put a t-shirt next to you.
I felt this. I didn't want to look at it. So every now and then we do get gifts from super fans, and to the super fans, thank you very much. This is great because it gives us new wardrobe.
Yeah.
It truly always appreciated.
We love it.
So
you know who we haven't received a t-shirt from? Which I'm surprised.
Stephanie. I haven't heard from Stephanie in a while.
Well,
Stephanie, are you still out there?
Are you still watching?
Do you still love us?
Can you
We miss you, Stephanie.
Yeah, we do actually.
Call us.
Just let us know. Like, go on Facebook, and you can send us a private message just to let us know that you're still around. Because
Yeah.
We miss
So,
you. We
so
do.
who are these from?
These are actually from. I'm trying to remember when I received the package. These are from. Who was it? We'll look it up. It's right down there now. Sorry.
Yo. I don't receive the packages, so I don't know. But whoever it is,
oh my God, it's down there.
We appreciate and love you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
All right, so
you put me on the spot. I couldn't even remember. If I remember before the end of the show, but regardless, you already know before we do. But even if I do remember, I'll still say it so you realize that I do remember, and we're still saying thank you.
You're double talking now.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to backtrack off your question. What do I have? Ole.
Turn it around. Ooh, 12 Monkeys. Classic movie starring Bruce Willis, Madeline Stowe, and Brad Pitt. Good movie, by the way. Interesting movie.
Bruce Willis, I've seen everything he's done except for what?
Guess movie? It's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
It's quite literally the only, I believe at this point, I'd have to go look up all of his, but I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact I've never seen this before, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the only Bruce Willis thing I've
There might be a few more because I know last year he released 7.
What?
They were all like straight to DVD
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to
streaming
look that up.
release.
Okay, so recent stuff maybe not so much.
And I've
What do you
got... Ooh, it's a Christmas version.
Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay!
So I guess we
Bruce
don't wanna-
Willis theme.
So it's a Bruce
Oh,
Willis
this
theme.
is awesome. I love Bruce
You want to wear
Willis.
it? You want to try it out? Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
We're gonna go try it out.
Oh,
That's a nice transition, right?
It probably went out of focus, but we don't care.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
right.
Out of
Low
focus,
budget
out of
special
focus.
effects.
Pop, pop, pop.
We do it old school.
Oh yeah!
Oh, this is great.
Thank you so much,
Yippee-ki-yay.
Stefan. Stefan is the one who sent it in.
Stefan?
Stefan. He's out of Montreal. Like he's on the, like a little section out of Montreal that they call
Montreal.
Mont Royal area. That's where it's from.
Isn't that right in the heart of Montreal?
I guess. I don't know. I'd have to go and...
Because that's what Montreal means. Mont Royal, the Mount Royal, Montreal.
So,
You learned something
downtown
today.
Montreal.
Downtown Montreal.
I think he lives on the corner on the side of Rue Principale and Main Street.
All right,
Okay.
so I think we have a theme here going
We
on.
have
We
a
got
theme.
Bruce Willis theme. Let's talk Bruce Willis, because folks, in case you didn't know, recently Bruce Willis was diagnosed with aphasia. If you're not familiar with it, we kind of had to look it up ourselves because we weren't quite sure. But apparently, it's a disease that affects the brain and the speech patterns, which makes it difficult for someone with aphasia to communicate effectively. Now, you can imagine for an actor reciting lines, if what your brain is thinking, what your mouth is saying are not the same thing, it's really hard to do lines. So sadly, Bruce Willis has retired from his acting career.
A long acting career. Like he's been doing
Bruce,
this since the mid-80s.
we got to do this right
this
now.
is a
Bruce,
Lazyboys
to you.
salute to Bruce Willis.
So,
Thank you so much for everything that you've given us as fans. I'm a super fan.
I'm a super fan
I'm
too.
a super fan of
So
Bruce
let's
Willis.
have a sip in his honor, and let's talk about Bruce's career. Now, Bruce.
Wait,
Yeah.
don't just do it generic wise. Right out of the gate, what is you say Bruce Willis? What is the first thing that pops to mind?
Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard.
I'm actually wearing the T-shirt.
Oh yeah, on top of it.
I think Die Hard is the moment where Bruce went from TV comedic actor to genuine, bona fide action star. This was what year was Die Hard? 88, 89?
Late 80s, yeah.
I think it was 88.
You know before we do again, right? Thanks, dude.
That is the pivotal moment that launched. Because I remember, and ironically, when Bruce Willis filmed Die Hard and it was promoted, at first people laughed in the trailers because they knew him from Moonlighting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a moment. And
But
people
him as an action hero,
and
really?
people didn't buy it, so
No.
they actually had to change the posters to take his face out of it and just show the Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah.
until the movie actually premiered. And I remember I didn't go to the premiere per se, but I remember seeing that movie in theaters originally and being so in awe of how awesome it was. And within a few days, the poster switched back and they had the Bruce Willis, and it was they weren't showcasing the movie anymore. They were showcasing Bruce Willis starring in Die Hard, and he became an overnight action star.
Yeah, huge.
And I think the reason why, unlike, because back, you got to remember in the 80s, look at all
Can
the
you
action
tell
films.
how much he loves Bruce Willis? I can't even say a word right now.
You'll have your chance. You'll have your chance. I
The only
promise. I
thing I want to
promise.
say before you continue, this is a fact. In like, you always have like your favorite movies of all time. Mine are based on, and I think you're the same way, based on categories.
Yes.
But when it comes to action movies,
Die Hard's in the top 10 for
is
sure.
number one.
Number one for you.
It's the movie, the action movie I've seen the most in my life. And I
can see
could
that.
watch it. I could watch Die Hard once a week, easy. Once upon a time, I could have watched it once a day. Now maybe
I
not
can
so
see
much,
that.
but I could watch.
You're
it
like Jake Peralta on 9-9. You love Die Hard.
I love Die Hard. So continue.
What made Die Hard so great is if you look at 80s action films, these were all the super muscle men action stars. This was like the peak era of Schwarzenegger,
Sylvester Stallone.
And these were all like heavily muscled guys in impossible situations. Then came Bruce, who, for all intents and purposes, is not a big muscular. I mean, he's not a wimp by any means.
No.
But he was more like your average guy.
Yeah.
And if you see the movie, he's injured. He comes out of that movie, he's bloodied all over. He's this and that. So unlike this invincible hero, he was like, he's a little above an every guy. He's still a police officer. But here's a guy who's not a super muscle-bound, impossible action star.
And every time he got hurt, you could feel it.
You felt it. It's the broken glass in the feet.
But
and
everything is just you could feel all the pain, and
you related.
Oh my!
You so related. So when it came out,
super fan.
You were like, "Oh my God, here is an action star I can feel a connection with." As opposed to, I love Arnold, I love Stallone, but they're always there's these huge icons.
Yeah.
Whereas John McClane, the character he played, was relatable, and this is what launched a huge movie career as an action star. But let's take a little time, trip back in time. Let's go to the beginning. What really made Bruce first appear in the public consciousness was
moonlighting.
Moonlighting
With Sybil Shepherd, right?
With Sybil Shepherd, these guys ran a detective agency, and it was a comedy. It was funny.
And in order for her to make, because back in the day, right, it was the 80s, and there's still some situations like that today, as a strong female lead in, not just in the show, I mean, as her character, she was not able to have a detective agency. Nobody would take her seriously because she was a woman. So what she did is she created a persona as the actual detective, which was played by Bruce Willis. So Bruce Willis was basically the front man.
He was the face of the agency while she was the brains.
She was the brains. She was the actual detective, and he was there just for, just to have those meetings with the guys and to be able to have those contracts to be doing the detective work. But that relationship between both of them, and the first time that I learned about Bruce Willis was in that show, and he was a comedic actor.
And you watch it, the banter, the back and forth.
That was the first show that I remember that kind of banter back and forth.
If you've never seen it, have a look.
Yeah, it's totally worth it.
It's totally something that back in the day was groundbreaking.
Yeah, it was huge.
And
it was massive.
It made Bruce Willis a huge TV star.
Yeah, well, her too.
Her too. Sybil Shepherd, of course.
It kicked her career.
Yeah.
But the fact that even in that show, the way they played it, the back and forth, the banter, everything, it was the first time that you saw it on TV. And at first, right, it wasn't really a romantic kind of show. But it was really their relationship. But I guess back in the 80s, you had to go there, so they ended up going there.
The obligatory love story.
If that show came out today, they wouldn't even have to do that.
They wouldn't have to bother.
Those two characters were so well developed that there was no reason to go down the romantic avenue. But you know what? It's like who's the boss? They had to go there, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have to. Both leads, the female and the male leads, were strong enough characters developed that there's no reason to go down there. But just both of them, comedic wise, and he always had that little, because he was a private eye, right? So he had to have that little edgy side of him. But you didn't realize how edgy he could bring it until Die Hard.
Yeah.
But a phenomenal show. It only played for, 4 or 5 years?
I think it was 4 seasons. Now, Die Hard made him an action star, but people tend to forget Bruce Willis was first and foremost a comedic player.
He's a funny guy, man.
He did a mid to late 80s movie called Blind Date with Kim Basinger. Which was actually very funny. Yeah. And then even later, if any of you ever watched the sitcom Friends, which I hope you have, at one point he appeared in a small story arc as Jennifer Aniston's potential boyfriend, where he played a tough guy. But there was this one scene where he had an emotional breakthrough.
Wait. Just for the setup. So you got to imagine Ross and Rachel. That's Roch, right? So Ross and Rachel together, that's Ross. So Ross, as a professor, starts dating one of his students, and they have to keep it hidden. But
he's the student's dad.
So the father of the student is the character played by Bruce Willis,
who starts to date Jennifer Aniston.
So you got Ross dating the daughter.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston's character Rachel is dating the father. So they end up at more. I don't know if that's the scene you're going to talk about, but whatever. If you don't, I will.
At the cabin.
At the cabin.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yes. So set up. They end up in the same cabin, but Ross was trying to sneak in and everything, and both
so you've got exes, one's dating the daughter, one's dating the father.
Father's trying to keep it hidden away that he's dating Rachel as well. Anyways, it's just, that episode is epic, and here it is.
But he has at one point, because he's such a tough guy, because Bruce Willis is now known as a tough action star.
And he plays tough big time.
And he plays tough big time until he has an emotional breakthrough about why he's such a bit of a tough guy dad and all these things, and he winds up crying like a little baby and whimpering about every little thing. And it really takes a great comedic actor to pull this off. It takes someone who's secure enough in their masculinity to go from tough guy action star icon of a whole movie genre to blubbering, whimpering little
on a TV show.
On a
Not
TV
even a
show.
Film, on a
That's
TV
one of the
show.
biggest TV shows of the era, so it's seen by millions. So really, to put yourself out there that way,
it's huge.
And it was hilarious.
I thought you were going to talk about the scene where Ross is hidden under the bed, and Bruce is talking to himself in the mirror, that he's like, I don't know if it's like,
he's psyching himself up.
I'm a sexy guy, I'm a sexy man, or whatever, and he's talking to himself, and he's being super vulnerable at that point too. And then Ross because there's issues with Ross, because he's an older man, dating his daughter, and then Ross just kind of, just a little pin, a little chirp that sneaks in, goes, makes reference to the fact that he's aware that he's a sexy man or something to that fact. And then Bruce goes, oh damn, he was in the room when I was going through that, and he thought he was talking to himself in the mirror. So that's hilarious. But that whole episode,
Bruce Willis has comedy chops.
Oh.
Bruce Willis has comedy chops. Most people know him as an actor, but he's as a tough guy action star, but he is a comedic genius as well.
Well, I think that's why Die Hard was working so well too, because it was the first time that a character did not take himself seriously. He was in a crappy situation, and himself having the experience he had in the police force and everything in New York and everything, and ended up in LA, and he hates LA, and you know about it.
Oh yeah.
But his delivery, the fact that most of the movie, he's on his own.
Oh yeah.
So he's
alone, no support. He's scared. He's got very little to do. He's not wearing shoes.
With himself.
Yeah.
So, and that back and forth, and the comments that he's making on the radios, and the sarcasm. You all know, if you've been watching this show long enough, you're aware that we're huge fans of sarcasm.
Yeah.
If it's played well, it's the best type of comedy. And in that movie, holy freak, does it play well.
I do want to fast forward to the rest of his career. After Die Hard, he became an action star.
Yes.
He occasionally did comedies. I'm thinking The Whole Nine Yards with Matthew Perry,
was a fantastic
which is
movie.
what led to the Friends. The Friends.
That's true, because of that
cameo.
connection, right?
But for the
Matthew
most
Perry.
part, he played I will say though, I do fear that Bruce Willis became kind of typecast after a while. And here's the perfect example. There was actually a really, really good film called Looper. Have you ever seen Looper?
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love Looper.
Looper.
Sorry, you're going to notice that regardless of what he says, Bruce Willis, whatever you're in, regardless, it could be the crappiest pile of dung on the sidewalk, and I would love to see him in the worst. Well, not anymore, unfortunately. But you take the worst possible movie and put Bruce Willis in there. Just his presence, I would watch it. That's how much of a fan I am. So
yeah, he's in Looper with why am I drawing a blank on his name? Joseph Gordon-Levitt. My apologies.
That's true. He's in there.
Yeah. So
Damn.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays the younger version of Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is Bruce Willis has become so typecast. Bruce Willis plays the Bruce Willis type. Joseph Gordon-Levitt having to play a younger Bruce Willis. Watch this. You look at him, he becomes Bruce Willis.
Oh, it's genius. I love that movie
in this
much.
movie, I gotta give the kudos really to Joseph Gordon-Levitt for really
Playing Bruce
embodying. And it's no criticism to Bruce because Bruce basically was directed to play his tough guy persona.
Yeah.
He's so popular and iconic at this point that people expect this from him, and if he plays something else, it's hard. So he's got to play the Bruce tough
could
guy.
play an entire movie, not even say a freaking word throughout the movie, and it would work.
But Joseph Gordon-Levitt becomes tough guy Bruce Willis in this, and is brilliant. Now, one last thing.
I didn't even...
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to talk about Looper? Go ahead.
No, not Looper in a sense. I thought you were wrapping up the show. I'm like,
No.
This is Bruce Willis.
Well, yeah, I do want to talk about
an extended version of Lazyboys night.
As much as Bruce is awesome, there is one film that is terrible.
Oh,
you know the one I'm talking about?
What? No, I'm not even sure where you're going to go with this.
Hudson Hawk.
Okay, that doesn't count. You know what? I still enjoyed him in that movie, though.
Really?
The movie was horrible.
It
I
was
still
a
enjoyed
horrible
watching
movie.
him.
It was a horrible
You know
movie.
you're an iconic actor.
When you can survive this.
There's certain actors that I could watch, like I said, regardless if they were in a movie about cutting grass, and it was a 1.5 hour movie. Oh,
excuse me.
That's 2.
Oh my gosh!
You can
Allergies.
tell this is live because that was
Apologies. We
is
can't
not being
edit this
edited
out. Sorry, Bruce. Now, Bruce,
Damn allergies. Oh.
this is how good you are. You could survive Hudson Hawk and still
have
come
a
out
career.
as a major action
Yeah,
star
still
because
have
a
a
lot of
career.
people would not survive
No.
that
God,
because
no.
that was such a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's
So that's the pile of dung I was talking about.
there you go.
It's Hudson Hawk. Just saying.
Just gonna
But-
say, don't even bother to look it up to see how bad is it. It's not.
No,
even
they're going
worth
to end up watching it just because they want to know how
Because there's
bad it
movies
is.
that are so bad they're good. For example, Sharknadoes.
Yeah, that's purposely done bad, so it's
Yeah, Hudson
awesome.
Hawk was not purposely done bad. It was just
No.
done.
There was good intentions that just went.
Yeah.
south. So
But we
anyways,
still love you, Bruce, because despite that, you survived, you endured, and your career ran from the 80s till
so
2022.
like now. So the we're going from like TV show when we were first introduced to him. We're going through the Die Hard stuff. The next epic moment for me is when he showed up, and I didn't even know that he was going to be in the film. Is Pulp Fiction.
Oh!
So in Pulp Fiction, right? In that movie, I didn't even know that he was in there. I was going in because I was a huge Reservoir Dog fan. And when I found out that there was another movie coming out by Tarantino, and I'm going in regardless. That movie, like, you remember those commercials when you have somebody sitting in a chair, and I don't know if it was the stereo system or whatever, and it's just
Yeah.
wasn't it at the beginning of the films or whatever, because it was now in like hi-fi definition or whatever. I felt like that when I watched the movie.
That was like 30 years ago. I don't remember.
Anyways, regardless. So, as soon as I saw Bruce Willis in there, I was like, holy frick, this is really an all-star cast.
Oh,
man.
yeah. You had
And
Sam
the
Jackson,
role he
John
played and the
Travolta,
way
Bruce
he
Willis.
played it was, oh my god, it was just gorgeous. It was beautiful. I love that. Like, every scene he's in is that intense, and it's, holy frick, that to me was taking everything that's Bruce Willis, that intensity, and just, he's a phenomenal actor, and just putting it into that movie. Oh my God, the fact that they cast him in that role, because originally in the screenplay, that role was supposed to go like to a mid-20s-ish, like a prize fighter at the beginning of his career, and he decides, you know what, I'm not going, because he's dealing with the mob and everything, and he has to go down, and he's like, I'm not going down, and so anyways, it ended up being Bruce Willis. I'm not sure of the exact facts of how he was able to convince, but instead of being a fighter at the beginning of his career, it ended up being Bruce Willis' character at the end of his career. Going, this is my last fight for him.
I did not know that.
He's such an awesome actor. They wanted him in the film.
And you know what? He totally pulled it off.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
If you have not seen Pulp Fiction, seriously, shame on you.
If you don't like violence, don't watch it.
True.
But if you like action and you want to just see unbelievable acting by super professionals, like every single actor in that movie is amazing. And that's why Tarantino works so well, not only just based on his scripts, but the fact that he's able to cast these amazing actors in his films. Anyways, I digress. What I'm trying to say is when he came out in that film, I realized how much I really did completely love Bruce Willis. And even in Die Hard 2, when he has that interaction with Samuel L. Jackson, that's in the third one?
That's in the third.
Oh, the second one's at the airport. That's true.
That's right.
So in the third one,
I love the third one.
Third movie, I'm going, I'm still going to go see it because it's Bruce Willis.
Third one was awesome.
Holy frick. Number 1 is still
awesome.
my favorite action movie of all time, but a tight, close second place is that third movie.
Die Hard 3 with Sam Jackson,
my God, that's an amazing movie.
So I think what we're trying to say is, let's raise our glass,
Bruce,
to
you had
an
an amazing career.
To an iconic actor who influenced pop culture and cinema and will inspire generations to come.
Yeah.
Here's to you, Bruce.
Here's to you, Bruce. Thank you for entertaining us for so many decades.
Not only with your action, but with your laughs as well.
Everything, you're awesome. We thank you so much. Cheers. We'll see you next time.